Together they're strong, they're brave, they're bold. Working, working, working together. Puff and puff through all sorts of weather. Edward pushes from the back, helping Henry up the track. They're working, working, working together. Friends for now and friends forever. As a team that's Thompson, yes, that's good togetherness. Henry worries about afraid he might be running late. Edward thinks he's getting old, but together they're strong, they're brave, they're bold. Working, working, working together. Puff and puff through all sorts of weather. Edward pushes from the back, helping Henry up the track. They're working, working, working together. Friends for now and friends forever. As a team that's Thompson, yes, that's called togetherness.
Henry's lucky day. The winter holidays were coming, and a thick blanket of snow covered the island of Sodor. Snowdrifts blocked the lines, and the tracks were very slippery. The engines felt frozen from their funnels to their footplates. But Henry puffed happily through the snowy countryside. None of his lines were blocked. You are the only engine to have made your deliveries on time today, Chuff Thomas. You must have lucky trucks. Henry saw that none of the other engines were back. Maybe you're right. Maybe I do have lucky trucks, he puffed. That night, when the engines were all asleep, Henry thought how pleased he was to have lucky trucks. Now I will always be on time, puffed Henry. And that means I can be a really useful engine. But the next morning, when Henry went to the yard, his lucky trucks weren't there. Oh no, chuffed Henry. Where are my lucky trucks? Edward took them, puffed Thomas. He needed to take coal to the villages. Then Sir Topham Hatt arrived at the yard.
Henry, I've got a very important special for you, said Sir Topham Hatt. A delivery of presents has arrived at the airport. You must collect them and take them to the children in the villages.
Henry puffed to the airport. But soon he was in trouble. Gordon's Hill was very icy. Every time Henry tried to puff up the hill, he slid back down again. I need my lucky trucks back, Henry huffed. I can't make my deliveries without them. Must find Edward. Must find Edward, chuffed Henry. Then, a snowslide came down and blocked Henry's way. Oh no, puffed Henry. If I had my lucky trucks, this would never have happened. Henry puffed up the line. He saw pipes across the track. They were blocking his way. I thought you were collecting presents, chuffed Molly. You're supposed to be at the airport, snorted James. Edward has my lucky trucks, whistled Henry. I must find him.
Don't worry, called Rocky. I'll have the line cleared in no time.
Henry waited sadly as Rocky lifted the pipes from the tracks. Then he chuffed on to find Edward and his lucky trucks. But every way that Henry chuffed, there were more delays. Sorry, puffed Thomas. It has taken me a long time to clear this line. It's not your fault, Henry wheezed. I need to find Edward and my lucky trucks. And Henry puffed sadly away. Henry couldn't find Edward anywhere. I'll never see my lucky trucks again, he sighed. But when he puffed into the frosty forest, there was Edward with Henry's lucky trucks. I found you, Henry chuffed excitedly. But he puffed too quickly. His wheels slid on the icy tracks. And he biffed right into his lucky trucks. Oh no! I've broken my lucky trucks, groaned Henry. Henry didn't know what to do. I'm not going anywhere without my lucky trucks, huffed Henry. But they're broken, chuffed Edward. And if you don't collect the presents soon, the children won't have anything to open in the morning. Henry thought about how sad the children would be. I have to get to the airport somehow, puffed Henry, even without my lucky trucks. So Henry chuffed away to the airport. The tracks were clear now, and the more Henry thought about the children, the less he thought about his lucky trucks. He puffed up Gordon's Hill. The track was very icy. His wheels started to spin, but Henry puffed harder and harder. He inched his way over the top of the hill. Soon Henry arrived at the airport. He collected the presents and puffed across the island, making his delivery. Now Henry didn't think about his lucky trucks once. All he could think about was delivering the presents on time. Children were waiting at the station. Good old Henry, they cheered. Henry felt very proud. And he steamed along the track. Only one more delivery, puffed Henry. With or without his lucky trucks, Henry knew he mustn't let the children down. I delivered all the presents, chuffed Henry happily, and without my lucky trucks. Maybe the trucks weren't so lucky after all. But when Henry saw the children's smiling faces, he knew he was still the luckiest engine. Snow tracks. It was winter time on the island of Sodor. It had snowed all night. The trees were white. The cottages were white. And even Sir Topham Hatt's railway was white. There was not an engine in sight. At Tidmouth Sheds, the engines looked out. Percy was very excited.
It snowed!
Thomas didn't like the snow.
Bother. I'll have to wear my heavy snowplow.
I don't like snow. You can get stuck in it.
Stuff and nonsense. Snow is soft, but I am strong. It won't bother.
Then Sir Topham Hatt arrived.
Gordon, you must take some freight cars to Brendam Docks. They are needed for an important coal delivery. You are a strong engine, but snow is slippery. Puff the long way round.
Yes, sir.
Thomas, you must deliver bundles of firewood to the stations.
Yes, sir.
And then Sir Topham Hatt left. Thomas puffed with pride.
That's a very special job.
Not as important as mine. I shall go straight to the docks. I shall steam over every hill I come to.
Gordon pumped his pistons proudly.
Up the long way round. That means, Gordon, don't go up any hills.
Hills are not too steep for me. I am strong. I am the best.
And Gordon wheeshed out of Tidmouth Sheds.
Gordon huffed and he puffed. His smoke was gray against the snowy white countryside. Soon, Gordon came to a hill.
This hill isn't too steep for me. I shall steam over it.
So, Gordon thundered up the hill.
I am special. I am the best.
And he chuffed right to the top.
That was easy.
But Gordon found going down the other side wasn't so easy. The rails were icy. Gordon's wheels slipped and slid. He went faster and faster.
Perishing pistons!
Spencer was huffing up the hill. The Duke and Duchess of Boxford were on board. They were having tea.
Slow down, Gordon.
But Gordon couldn't slow down. Slushy snow sprayed from his wheels. Spencer was covered from footplate to fender.
Rattle my rods. I'm as dirty as a ditch.
But Gordon didn't hear as he clickety-clacked on the icy tracks. Gordon came to another hill. It was even bigger.
This hill isn't too steep for me. I shall steam over it.
So Gordon thundered up the hill.
I am special. I am the best.
But the tracks were icy. The snow was deep, and the hill was very, very steep. Gordon steamed slower and slower.
Bust my boiler. This is hard work.
Wheel turn by wheel turn, Gordon huffed and puffed to the top of the hill. He felt very pleased.
I am the strongest. I am the best.
But at the bottom of the hill, there was deep, deep snow. The snow flew up all over Gordon's face.
Bubbling boilers. I can't see.
Gordon rattled off the main track and into a siding, straight into the back of some slate cars. Gordon was covered in thick gray dust.
Oh, the indignity. At least I can see now.
And Gordon huffed on towards the docks. The snow was deeper and deeper and deeper. Gordon could hardly huff through it.
This is hard work.
Now, Gordon was at the bottom of Gordon's Hill. Gordon's Hill was the biggest of all, and it was covered in thick, thick snow.
Gordon's Hill isn't too steep for me. I shall steam over it. I am strong. I am the best.
But Gordon didn't feel so strong anymore, and he didn't feel the best. Gordon puffed against the snow.
Snow is soft, and I am strong. It won't bother me.
But the snow wasn't soft. It had become a giant snowball. It grew bigger and bigger. Gordon started to huff slower and slower. He The snow was deeper and deeper and deeper. Gordon could hardly huff through it.
This is hard work.
Now, Gordon was at the bottom of Gordon's Hill. Gordon's Hill was the biggest of all, and it was covered in thick, thick snow.
Gordon's Hill isn't too steep for me. I shall steam over it. I am strong. I am the best.
But Gordon didn't feel so strong anymore, and he didn't feel the best. Gordon puffed against the snow.
Snow is soft, and I am strong. It won't bother me.
But the snow wasn't soft. It had become a giant snowball. It grew bigger and bigger. Gordon started to huff slower and slower. He thought his boiler was going to burst.
Oh my!
Just then, Thomas chuffed up behind Gordon.
Thank you for clearing the tracks, Gordon. Now I can deliver the firewood faster.
Then there was trouble. The giant snowball was too big and too heavy. It started to push Gordon back down the hill.
Look out, Thomas!
Cinders and ashes.
Gordon and his freight cars rolled back faster and faster. Thomas chuffed back faster and faster. He slipped into a siding, and Gordon rolled round the bend.
The giant snowball will surely miss us now.
But Gordon was wrong. The giant snowball rolled down the track and crashed and bashed into Thomas. Gordon saw Thomas and his car of firewood lifted high in the air and derailed. Now it was Thomas who looked like a giant snowball. Luckily, no one was hurt. Gordon felt terrible.
I'm not strong, and I'm not the best. It's a disaster.
Gordon steamed slowly to Thomas.
I'm sorry, Thomas. I'll huff my hardest to help you.
Gordon heaved and hauled. He pushed and puffed, but the snow was too heavy. The snow was too thick. Gordon could not chuff through it to help his friend.
I'm not strong enough, Thomas. I'll find Rocky. He's stronger than me.
Gordon found Rocky at Brendam Docks.
Oh, Thomas, I'll have you back on the tracks in no time.
Soon, Thomas was no longer a snowball. He was a bright blue engine again.
Thank you, Rocky. Now I must deliver my firewood. I'm very late. The station masters will be waiting, and they'll be very cold.
I'll help you, Thomas.
What about your very important job?
I delivered my freight cars to the docks. Now I can help you with your very important job.
Thomas was happy to have his friend's help.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thomas and Gordon chuffed cheerfully through the snow. And when they came to a hill, they always puffed around it. Together, Thomas and Gordon delivered the firewood to all the stations. The station masters were very pleased to see them. At last, Gordon and Thomas puffed home to Tidmouth Sheds. They were tired, but they were happy to have been really useful. Gordon wished grandly.
I have something very important to say. No engine is special, and every engine is best.
Thomas and his friends whistled. They all agreed with Gordon.
Life is full of surprises, full of ups and downs. And so, to have a sense in worrying if things start going wrong. All obstacles can all be overcome. But even Bill and Ben will agree that in the end, if you never lose hope, you're sure to go and carry on. Every cloud is silver line, even when it rains. So don't be too downhearted, as things are about to change. All you gotta do is wear a smile and you will find your sun will shine. So if you got a job to do, make sure you do it well. Arguing will get you nowhere fast. When things are push the fences fall, they always get it wrong. But never lose hope, you're sure to go and carry on. Every cloud is silver line, even when it rains. So don't get too downhearted, as things are about to change. All you gotta do is wear a smile and you will find your sun will shine. Everybody makes mistakes, it happens all the time. You should never lose sight of your goal. Just like Bill and Ben, things will work out in the end. If you never lose hope, you're sure to go and carry on. When you're feeling down, you don't have to wear a hat. Never lose hope, you're sure to go and you can carry on. It's sure to help you on your way. As long as hope can help you on, never lose hope can help you on the way.
Merry Winter Wish. It was the winter holidays on the island of Sodor.
All the engines were excited.
That evening, Knapford Station was going to be decorated with lots of winter lights. There were to be red lights, green lights, sparkling lights, and even snowflake lights. Thomas trucked into Brendam Docks. All the engines were huffing and puffing busily. Salty rolled over. He had some important news. The engines liked important news.
A ship will arrive from the mainland. It'll deliver a special winter holiday light for Knapford Station. It will be the biggest light of all.
The engines wheezed with wonder.
What's the light called?
It is called the Star of Knapford. It's a very special star. If an engine passes by it, they can make a wish, then maybe, just maybe, their wish will come true.
The engines were very excited. They couldn't wait to see the Star of Knapford. Just then, Sir Topham Hatt arrived.
Thomas, you must wait here. You will have a special to deliver.
Yes, sir.
Thomas's axles tingled and trembled. A special was best of all. Thomas watched and waited. Then his special arrived.
Shiver me timbers, Thomas. Look at that.
Cranky lowered the Star of Knapford gently onto a flatbed. The star sparked and sparkled. It looked wonderful.
Thomas, you will pull the Star of Knapford to Knapford Station.
Thomas was excited. He thought his pistons would pop.
Bubbling boilers! I can't wait to tell my friends about my special.
So Thomas buffered up to the Star of Knapford. Then he chuffed cheerfully off to Knapford Station. Thomas puffed proudly to a junction. The Star of Knapford shimmered on his flatbed. Then Thomas saw Percy chuff across the bridge above. An idea popped in Thomas's pistons.
I'm sure Percy would like to make a wish. Then maybe, just maybe, Percy's wish will come true. just like Salty said.
So Thomas didn't take the track to Knapford Station. He puffed quickly to follow Percy. At last, Thomas was side by side with Percy.
Percy, I have the Star of Knapford on my flatbed.
Percy was surprised.
Fizzling fireboxes! Are you taking the star to Knapford Station?
Yes, Percy. After you have made a wish.
So Thomas pulled the star alongside Percy. Percy looked at the star. Then he closed his eyes tight.
I made a wish! Thank you, Thomas.
That made Thomas very happy.
Now I must hurry.
Next, Thomas saw Henry chuffing cheerfully.
I'm sure Henry would like to make a wish.
So Thomas wheezed and whistled away to follow Henry. Thomas raced after Henry, all the way to Tidmouth Sheds. Henry saw the Star of Knapford on Thomas's flatbed. His boiler bubbled brightly.
Oh, Thomas, you're lucky. Are you taking the star to Knapford? Yes, Henry, after you have made a wish.
So Henry closed his eyes.
I made my wish. Thank you, Thomas.
That made Thomas even more happy.
Hooray! I hope all my friends' wishes will come true.
Thomas chuffed on to Knapford Station. James puffed quickly past.
I'm sure James would like to make a wish.
So Thomas raced after James. Thomas chased James all the way up Gordon's Hill. Then there was trouble. Thomas rattled and raced down the hill.
Stop, James!
Thomas's flatbed jiggled and joggled. The Star of Knapford wiggled and wobbled. Thomas was worried.
Cinders and ashes, this is fast!
Thomas applied his brakes. His wheels squawked and squeaked. Sparks flickered and flashed. At last, Thomas screeched to a stop. The Star of Knapford flew high into the sky. It floated and flickered right over James and Henry and Percy. Then crashed with a crunch and a crack onto the track in front of Thomas. Thomas gasped.
The star is broken. Now my friends' wishes might not come true. And it's all my fault.
Thomas was upset.
How can I get the star to Knapford now? Sir Topham Hatt and the other engines will be waiting.
Thomas decided to make a wish.
Maybe, just maybe, my wish will come true.
Thomas closed his eyes.
I wish that one of my friends would come to help me.
Suddenly, Percy, Henry, and James whooshed towards him. Thomas's wheels wobbled with wonder.
We saw the Star of Knapford fly high in the sky.
Are you all right, Thomas?
Thomas looked at his friends. Then he looked at the broken star.
I have been a very silly engine. I wanted you all to make wishes, so I didn't go straight to Knapford. I puffed too far and too fast. Please, will you help me?
Thomas's friends were happy to help. Percy watched the star. Henry fetched workmen to fix it. And Thomas and James found Roger. They huffed him quickly to the star. Soon, the workmen had fixed the star. Rocky lifted it carefully back onto Thomas's flatbed.
Thank you all. Now we must hurry to Knapford.
So, together, The engines wheeshed and they whooshed across Soda. They arrived just in time. Everyone watched as Rocky put the Star of Knapford high above the station. Then they clapped and cheered as the star was switched on. It shimmered and shone brightest of all.
Thank you, Percy, Henry, Rocky, and James. I'm very lucky to have you all as friends. I'm sorry that your wishes didn't come true.
Mine did. I wished that we'd all be together under the Star of Knapford.
So did I.
So did I.
Thomas smiled from footplate to fender. His friend's wishes had come true. And that made Thomas happiest of all. Percy the Snowman. It was the winter holidays on the island of Sodor. Snow lay thick on the tracks. All the engines were excited. There were presents and parcels, parties and playtimes, all for the children of Sodor. Sir Topham Hatt was at Tidmouth Sheds with Thomas.
Thomas, I have a special for you.
Thomas's boiler bubbled.
It's tea time. I am switching on the Christmas lights. You are to take me from Knapford Station to Town Square.
Yes, sir.
Make sure, Thomas, that you finish all your other jobs first.
Of course, sir. Right away, sir.
Thomas's firebox fizzed and flickered.
That is a very special.
And Thomas chuffed cheerfully away onto the snowy tracks. The snow splattered and scattered as his snowplow sliced through it. Then Thomas saw Percy in a siding.
Hello, Percy.
Percy was huffing hard.
Hello, Thomas. Those cars slipped and slid on the snowy tracks. Snow can be tricky. What are you doing?
Thomas puffed proudly.
I have a very special. I'm to take Sir Topham Hatt to turn on the Christmas lights.
Percy sighed sadly.
I finished my jobs. Sir Topham Hatt didn't give me a special.
Thomas wished. He didn't want his best friend to be sad. He wanted to share his happiness with Percy. Then, an idea flew into Thomas's funnel.
We can share my special. We can both take Sir Topham Hatt to the town square.
Percy's traction rods tingled.
Thank you, Thomas.
Wait here, Percy. I'll huff my hardest to finish my jobs, then I'll whoosh and I'll wheesh as fast as I can back to you.
Be careful, Thomas. Snow can be tricky.
Thomas pumped his pistons.
Don't worry, Percy. I know all about snow.
And Thomas steamed swiftly away. At Brendam Docks, dock workers coupled Thomas up to a flatbed of machinery.
Thank you! Now I must hurry to Maithwaite Station. I'll puff and I'll chuff as fast as can be, so Percy can share my special with me.
On the way to Maithwaite Station, Thomas whooshed past Percy. Percy was waiting.
I'll chuff back soon, Percy.
Snow splattered and scattered all over Percy, but Thomas didn't know.
Slow down, Thomas!
And Thomas didn't hear. He was already steaming down the track and away. At Maithwaite Station, workmen uncoupled Thomas from the flatbed of freight.
Thank you. Now, I must race like the wind to my next job at Farmer McCall's.
Thomas's wheels whirred.
I'll puff and I'll chuff as fast as can be, so Percy can share my special with me.
At Farmer McCall's farm, Thomas was coupled up to a wagon of milk churns.
Thank you. Now, I only have one job left.
Thomas's firebox flared.
I'll puff and I'll chuff as fast as can be, so Percy can share my special with me.
On his way to the dairy, Thomas rattled past Percy again. Percy was waiting. Percy was snowy.
I only have one job left, Percy. I'll wish back to you.
Once again, snow splattered and scattered all over Percy. Percy was covered in snow, but Thomas didn't know.
Slow down, Thomas!
And Thomas didn't hear. He was already racing down the track and away. At the dairy, Thomas was uncoupled from the milk churns.
Hooray! All my jobs are done.
Thomas's boiler bubbled brightly.
I'll puff and I'll chuff as fast as can be. Now Percy can share my special with me.
Thomas screeched to a stop at the siding. Thomas was excited.
Here I am, Percy, ready and raring to chuff our winter holiday special.
Thomas whistled and whooshed, but no sound came back. Thomas was puzzled.
Percy? Where are you, Percy?
Percy wasn't there. Percy had disappeared.
Percy? Where are you? We mustn't be late for Sir Topham Hatt.
But Percy didn't answer. Now Thomas was worried. Thomas puffed and peered at the siding. All he could see was white snow. And no Percy.
Cinders and ashes. Now Percy can't share my special. And I'm late for Sir Topham Hatt.
Just then, Gordon roared by. Snow from the tracks sprayed and sploshed all over a bush. Thomas was surprised.
Bubbling boilers. Now that bush looks like a snowball.
Then Thomas gasped.
Trembling tracks. I know why I can't see Percy. I must have covered him in snow when I whooshed and wheeshed past.
Thomas looked hard at a big snowy shape in front of him.
Percy? Is that you?
Suddenly, some snow slipped away.
Percy! It is you!
Percy was sad.
Hello, Thomas. I thought you didn't want to share your special with me. Now my firebox has gone out, so I can't come with you.
Thomas felt terrible.
I'm sorry, Percy. You were right. Snow is tricky. And I don't know about snow at all.
Thomas looked at his snowy friend. Then, an idea popped in his pistons.
Percy, I'll puff back soon. I promise you will share my special after all.
Thomas puffed into Knapford Station. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting. He was dressed as Santa Claus. Thomas jiggled with joy.
Sir, I have an idea that will give the children an even bigger winter holiday surprise.
So, Thomas told Sir Topham Hatt about Percy.
We can take the party to Percy.
That's a grand idea, Thomas. Pump your pistons.
Sir Topham Hatt turned on the Christmas lights. The children clapped and cheered.
Now, children, all aboard! Thomas has a special surprise for you.
Thomas puffed up to Percy. Percy looked sad. Then he saw Thomas and the children.
I promised to share my special with you, Percy. Children, here is your winter holiday surprise. Percy the Snow Engine.
Percy beamed from buffer to buffer. The children cheered and waved. They had never seen a snow engine before.
Hooray for Percy! Hooray for Thomas!
Even Sir Topham Hatt chuckled. Thomas huffed happily.
I've puffed and I've chuffed with the children's party. Now Percy has shared my special with me.
Splendid engine, best friend you fellow. But he really is quite vain. Who do we mean? You got it! James! Take a look, it's coming down the track. Make way for James, hooray for James. Shiny, shiny paint with the jet black stack. Make way for James, hooray for James. What is for certain that we really should note? But let's take a vote. He's a really splendid engine with a bright red coat. He can bang all day. How fast he goes, how good he looks. He's such a pose. But what about the time he got covered in mud? Oh, what a don't want a dud. But up and down the line, what did the others say? Despite his vanity, he really is okay. Dependable, reliable, and seldom late. We all think James is great. Speeding down the line like a rapid flash. Make way for James, hooray for James. Hang on to your hat as he pushes past. Make way for James, hooray for James. He really knows how to stage a show. You gotta stand back and watch him go. He's a real splendid engine with a bright red coat. Who's swanning it down the track? Make way for James, hooray for James. He never looks up, he never looks back. Make way for James, hooray for James. At times conceited and feeling quite vain. He knows we love him just the same. Take a look, he's coming down the track. Make way for James, hooray for James. Shiny, shiny paint with the jet black stack. Make way for James, hooray for James. He's the really splendid engine. Shiny, shiny engine. He's the really splendid engine. That's our James.
That's James.
Long lost friend. It was Christmas time on the island of Sogo, and another busy day at Brendam Docks. Frankie was unloading cargo as usual.
What's this? Weighs a ton!
Shiver me axles! It's Gator!
Hello, Salty. Did you miss me?
Oh, hi matey, I did. But I know someone who missed you even more. Percy!
Percy, is he here? I'd love to see Percy.
Percy used to come to the docks every day to see if you were back, but he doesn't do that anymore.
Oh,
Arr. Well, you have been gone a long time, matey.
The ship Gator had arrived on had also brought a lot of rock salt to the island, but the delivery note had got wet on the journey, and no one could tell what it said.
I think this salt is for the quarry, but I don't have an engine to take it there right now. Can you take it, Gator?
I'd be happy to. And maybe I'll see Percy. Do tell him I'm back if you see him first, won't you?
And we will, Gator.
Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, Gator.
Thomas nearly popped a piston when he realised who he'd seen.
Gator?
Yes, it's me. Just delivering some rock salt to the quarry.
Does Percy know you're back?
No, not yet. But please be sure to tell him when you see him.
I will. See you later, Gator. Bust my buffers. Gator's back. Wait till Percy hears the news.
Thomas raced into the shunting yard and found Percy working hard, keeping the cars in order.
Look out, Thomas. What's the rush? Percy,
You'll never guess who's back on Sodor in time for Christmas. Who? Is it Santa Claus? Gator! Gator? Really? My old friend? Yes!
This'll be the best Christmas ever. Well, where is he then?
Oh, he had to make a delivery to the quarry.
Thanks, Thomas. Maybe I'll make a delivery to the quarry too.
But you don't have any cars. What are you going to deliver?
Me!
Gator couldn't wait to make his delivery so that he could go and find Percy. But there seemed to be some sort of problem.
Well, I never. It's you, isn't it? It's Gator.
Hello, Owen. Yes, it's me. Been a while, hasn't it?
What's all that salt for, then?
It's to keep the roads clear in winter, but I think I've brought it to the wrong place.
I think this salt must be meant for the steamworks.
Oh. Do me a favour, Owen. Tell Percy I'm back if you see him.
Will do. Lovely to see you again, Gator.
Gator hurried toward the steamworks. He was sure Percy would find him just as soon as he heard he was back.
Gator! Lucy, I saw Gator. He was here earlier.
Hey, Owen, but where is he now?
Oh, he went to the steamworks, I think.
Oh, okay then. Thanks.
But Gator's salt delivery wasn't meant for the steamworks either.
That looks like it says Knapford to me. The salt must be for the platforms at Knapford Station. They do get awfully icy in winter.
Okay, thanks.
Percy chugged as fast as he could towards the steamworks, while Gator headed back in the opposite direction. But as Percy puffed over the bridge, Gator rumbled under it, and they didn't see each other. Gator had hoped he would have seen Percy by now. He wondered whether Percy even wanted to see him. Maybe he hadn't missed him at all.
Yes, I saw Gator, Percy, but I'm afraid he's gone now.
Percy wondered why Gator had gone to see everyone apart from him. Maybe Gator had forgotten all about him.
Hello, Gator. Did you see Percy? He was looking for you.
Oh, no, Thomas, I haven't. But he would have found me if he really wanted to see me. I've been all over the island. But...
Gator, whatever are you doing here with all that salt? No! This salt is meant for the docks. It's to stop them being slippery in the icy weather. I'm sorry, Gator, but you'll have to take it back. Off you go. We don't want any more confusion and delay.
Sorry, sir.
Express train coming through!
Percy, there you are! Listen, Sir Topham Hatt just sent Gator to...
I don't think Gator wants to see me, Thomas. He's probably forgotten all about me.
But Percy, Gator thinks it's you. Who doesn't want to see him?
He does?
Yes! He's heading back to the docks right now.
Oh no! He's going to go away again! I have to catch up with him.
Gator waited while Cranky unloaded the rock salt again. He was very sad at the thought that Percy didn't want to see him.
Hurry! Hope I'm not too late.
Oh, hey! Did you know that Gator is...
I know!
Percy looked everywhere, but he couldn't see Gator. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but there was rock salt everywhere. Percy was very sorry about the mess, but he was even more sorry that he was too late to see Gator.
Goodbye, Gator.
Hello, Percy.
Gator?
Yes, but this wasn't quite the greeting I was expecting from you.
I thought I'd missed you again, Gator. I'm so happy you're back.
Yes, I'm back, Percy, and this time I'm going to stay. At least long enough to wash off all this salt.
Oh, you're right there, matey. We can't have two salties on Sodor.
Percy couldn't believe it. His old friend was back for Christmas, and he was a very happy little engine. The rail car and the coaches. Daisy is a diesel rail car, the only one in all of Sodor. That means she can carry passengers without having to pull any coaches. Daisy works on the branch line that runs all the way up to the holiday town of Harwick. But as the summer season came to an end, not so many passengers wanted to be beside the seaside.
Look at that weather! How disappointing.
One day, Sir Topham Hatt arrived with a message.
Thomas, I'm putting you to work taking cars to and from the quarry for a while. And Daisy, I'm putting you back on Thomas's branch line.
The following morning, Annie and Clarabelle were both ready and waiting for Daisy to collect them.
You two are not needed today. You can stay right where you are.
What?
No! Thomas's passengers will be so pleased when they're picked up by a highly sprung diesel rail car. How much more comfortable this is, they'll say, than the usual lumpy, bumpy old.
Hey, Daisy, you should be nicer to Annie and Clarabelle. One day you may need them.
Not me, Thomas. I'm a diesel rail car. I never need coaches. Really? Awful.
Oh, don't listen to Daisy. You're both really useful. And at least you've got each other.
Thomas is right, Annie. We've got each other for company. And I'd rather be stuck in this shed than be pulled along by a dreadful diesel. Shall we play I Spy? But I can't see what you see.
I'll give you a hint. It's something that begins with an S.
Is it snow?
Yes.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Thomas's usual passengers enjoyed travelling on a diesel rail car for the first time.
Oh, what a smooth ride. I'm highly sprung, you see. Tip-top and thoroughly modern.
That evening, Daisy continued to be unkind to Annie and Clarabelle.
Oh, are you two still here? How dull it must be for you. I can go anywhere I like, but you have to wait for an engine to come along. So old-fashioned and out of date. And never on coaches. That's just rude!
But Daisy spoke too soon.
Daisy, you're proving very popular on Thomas's branch line.
Oh, thank you, sir. I do my best.
Then you won't mind picking up Annie and Clarabelle so you can carry more passengers. Daisy did need Annie and Clarabelle. She was too proud to apologise. But Annie and Clarabelle had a plan.
Can you hear a rattling, Annie?
Yes, Clarabelle. Is it you?
No, it's not me.
Well, it certainly isn't me.
I wonder where it's coming from, that rattling.
I don't know. I can't hear it now for all the creaking.
Creaking? What creaking? Oh, yes. Sounds like rusty spring.
A perfectly dreadful noise.
Terribly grating. It's going right through me.
The passengers haven't complained.
Not fit for purpose.
Very wrong.
Ghastly noise.
Never heard the like. Good for strength.
Annie and Clarabelle's plan worked a little too well.
Everybody off. Everybody out. I need to speak to a professional.
Daisy's passengers complained to the station master and told him what a bad railway it was.
I just saw Daisy rush by. Why did she leave you here?
She had to speak to a professional.
A professional? What about?
Highly sprung springs?
Well, she can't just abandon you and her passengers like this. I'm gonna have a word with Sir Topham Hatt.
I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with you, Daisy.
But Annie and Clarabelle said I was grating, and I can't hear anything.
Well, no. So, that means...
I must have a problem with my hearing as well. I'm off to the diesel works to find me fitter.
Thomas, what have Annie and Clarabelle been saying to Daisy?
I don't know, but Daisy has been rude to them since she first arrived. And abandoning them in Maithwaite? Well, that's going too far.
It was dark, and it looked like Annie and Clarabelle were going to be left at Maithwaite overnight.
Oh, Thomas!
Have you come to take us back to our shed?
I'd like a word with you two. It seems that someone has been putting ideas into Daisy's head. She's been at the diesel works all evening, and her fitter says there's nothing wrong with her. Do you two have anything to say about this?
Two wrongs
don't make a right.
Precisely. Just because Daisy was unfriendly, that doesn't mean you should be unkind in return. I expect better from the both of you.
Sorry, sir.
The next day, Annie and Clarabelle were ready to apologise to Daisy. But Thomas arrived instead.
Well, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is, Daisy has gone back to her usual branch line. So, she won't be taking you out today.
Oh, Thomas! That means...
Well, that's just it. The bad news is, I'm still on quarry duty. Sir Topham Hatt has sent a different engine to pull you to.
Hello, ladies.
So poor Annie and Clarabelle had to spend the entire day with dirty, devious Diesel.
So some metal time. Thunder, thunder,